Who doesn't think about getting away from it all time to time? To leave behind all the burdens of everyday life and simply live out your dreams and live your life on your own terms. Don't we all? But alas, we have responsibilities to uphold and duties to perform. However, the same thought crossed one such individual's mind long ago as well. Not only did he abandon his current stable life, but he even bought an entire island to live out the rest of his days. The story of Brendon Grimshaw has gained considerable recognition and is rightfully considered one of the more inspirational stories of the latter days of the previous century. Before we delve into it, however, be sure to like the video if you enjoy it and do subscribe to keep up to date with us. If you press the bell icon, you would be notified whenever we make a video so you can stay connected. Now let us talk about Brendon Grimshaw, the real-life Robinson Crusoe. Brendon Grimshaw had a stable job as a newspaper editor. It was quite a conventional way of living. Although he wasn't making millions, he still had enough to live out his life in relative peace and comfort. He was even saving up enough money to buy an apartment. All things considered, he had a good life. Something missing though. Something that he couldn't even understand at that point until a certain party he attended, where a boy asked him what he would do if he was left alone on an island. A seemingly childish question, though it struck a chord with Brendon Grimshaw. He simply replied that he would live alone on the island. This was an epiphany. The same question and his answer to it were buzzing around in Brendon's mind. His answer spoke of a dormant desire to live his life alone on an island. "I wanted to buy an island, I can't tell you why," he told Radio New Zealand in an interview. He had no family and his career ambitions seemed minimal. He didn't want to retire a rich man who lived an unlived life. He desired something more. He expressed his desire to buy an island with his contemporaries, but he was laughed at and called mad. That did not deter Brendon one bit. If anything, it made him more determined. He then used the money he was saving up for an apartment and went on a hunt to find a deserted island and settle there, away from the hustle and bustle of cities and civilization. He eventually ended his search when he found Moyenne Island in the Seychelles archipelago. It is north of Madagascar, east of Africa in the Indian Ocean. It was a picturesque island with a white, sandy beach and overgrown with plants so thick to cover the entire ground of the island. There was a lack of any noticeable fauna, and travel across the island was heavily hindered by the thick shrubbery. Only travel that was possible was by boat or by the edges of the island. Moyenne was also deserted, with the exception of pirates and smugglers making stops to this deserted piece of heaven. There was something special here, Brendon said. "As soon as I set foot on the island, I knew immediately." Quickly, a deal was made and Brendon Grimshaw was named the owner of the island for a small fortune of $13,000. He finally had his dream island, but his troubles had only just begun. In the 1970s, Brendon Grimshaw moved to the island full-time and set about making the haven he had desired. The first step was to make travel easier. He then set about making rough roads and trails across the island in order to get from one place to another easily. Secondly, he had to diversify the island's flora and fauna. He did that by planting new species of trees and transporting birds here time and time again. Trees of mango, palm, pawpaw, along with a great variety of animals and birds, begun settling here in droves. A thriving community of giant tortoises thrives on this island even now. He did all of that with the help of a local man named René Lafortune, who was instrumental in making this island habitable and a haven for all kinds of plants and animals. They turned the island around in something that was short of a miracle. This event is of particular interest to biologists, as it is an example of accidental conversation. How such a hostile environment could be a host to such a wide array of different flora and fauna species simply boggles the mind. But, or Brendon Grimshaw and René Lafortune, it was all in a day's work. Moyenne Island was converted into a wildlife sanctuary and a national park by sheer persistence. Many times offers were made to Brendon Grimshaw to hand the park over to multimillionaires, including the Prince of Saudi Arabia at the time, who offered Brendon $50 million exchange for the island. He was promised millions upon millions in exchange, but Brendon, however, was adamant about never selling it, as he didn't want nature's beauty to be squandered over incessant tourism or converted into theme parks. He wanted the island to be enjoyed by everyone and convert it into a national park, then have it converted into a holiday destination for the elite. His stance on conservation of nature made him well respected in conservation communities throughout the world, and his life's work became the subject of a book called Grain of Sand, and many documentaries sprouted from it. The book and the documentaries pushed him to the limelight and into stardom. His efforts were recognized and praised by the global community. He was lauded as a hero to all. In 2008, Brendon Grimshaw got his wish, and his beloved island became a national park, which it is still today. In 2012, Brendon Grimshaw unfortunately passed away and was buried on the island he gave his life to. He lived a full life, one fraught with danger and hardship, but one also of persistence and immeasurable success. At times, he did feel lonely and depressed, but he never doubted his life on a deserted island where most would never hope to settle. His efforts were gradual, but no less significant as now, the island is host to trees and animals that are rarely found anywhere else in the world. Up to his death, he personally cared for the thousands of trees and animals and birds that called Moyenne home. Brendon Grimshaw carved out an Eden in the middle of the ocean. Moyenne Island's National Park still thrives to this day, and Brendon's virtues regarding cleanliness and conversation still hold true. Even in death, he watches over Moyenne Island and its inhabitants, it seems. Brendon's story is inspirational in two ways. One, he showed that given enough time and persistence, anything can be achieved. Even a deserted island bought for a small sum can become a heaven on earth if it is cared for consistently. The overhaul of Island was neither easy nor was it quick. It took 50 years and the undivided attention of Brendon Grimshaw and Renee LaFortune to turn it into something totally different and unique. The result of this was astounding. Second, he proved that we are never too old to start anew. We are never too old to live our dreams. He was only 40 years old when the boy asked him the question regarding the island, and since that day, he endeavored to turn things around. At an age where most contemplate retirement and put their dreams to rest, Brendon Grimshaw did the opposite and solidified his place in the annals of history because of it.